Gotta hurry up before my lighting leaves. Yeah. Why hello. So today I'm going to be doing a video that is very similar to the last video I just did, and it's where I'm going to be sharing with you guys all of the books, or rather book series, that I have not yet started and that I should have a very long time ago because of how popular they are, how well received they have been on BookTube. All of those reasons. That's why I should have picked these up ages ago. And I know it. I know it. I'm going to be presenting them more or less in publication order. So the first books are going to be books that we've all been hearing about a lot on BookTube lately, and then it's going to dwindle a little bit more, but most of them have been very present on BookTube right now. I think pretty much all of them have. So yeah, without further ado, I'm gonna go ahead and do this thing. I do want to put a little disclaimer in there. I have 10 books that I'm going to be talking about, so I'm not going to go into detail about them because one, I don't really know a whole lot about them. I haven't read them yet, so I don't know too much. And two, I don't want to because my voice hurts and I'm recovering from having the flu and my light is fading as previously mentioned. So yeah, I'm pretty sure all you guys know about these books anyway, so it won't be that much of a loss. First book in a series that I have not yet read is Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard. This has been so popular on BookTube. Everyone has read it. Some people didn't like it. Some people loved it. Some people were in the middle about it, as you tend to be. But with this one in particular, I feel like a lot of people have just been really mixed about it. And that's what excites me so much about picking up this book and books like that, because I want to make that decision for myself as well. I do want to give a little shout out to my beloved boo Jacob, because he sent this to me as a late Christmas present and we're going to be buddy reading it together soon. So I'm excited to do that. Thank you, Jacob. The next book that I have not yet read is A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. Sarah J. Maas, BookTube is her bitch. Basically, she is the queen of YA fantasy. She deserves that title fully. I love the Throne of Glass series, but I haven't started this one yet. And again, this is another book that had hugely mixed reviews and it was kind of controversial in a way. And again, that excites me to no extent. So there's no reason why I shouldn't pick this one up. I think the sequel, you know, the one that's all booby on the cover, comes out in May, so I definitely want to read this in April so I can read this and read that one right after and it just be fresh in my mind and then be prepared for the third one. I don't know how many are supposed to be in this series, if it's a trilogy, if it's a series. If you know, let me know below. The next book I have not yet read is Falling Kingdoms by Morgan Rhodes. This is another book that's YA high fantasy, and I think that kind of deters a lot of people. A lot of people who, you know, read more adult, obviously, they're not really prone to reading YA. And when it comes to fantasy, there's a lot of people who are kind of like suspicious of how well it can be done. And I completely understand that because I read adult fantasy and sometimes it's hard because when I read YA fantasy, sometimes I want it to push the limits more because I want it to just go further, but then I remember, oh, it's YA, it can't really do that. So I completely understand that. I really, really do. But this is one that I've heard is so well done, and I've heard that it's sort of like a YA Game of Thrones, and that is high praise because I love the A Song of Ice and Fire series, obviously. So I'm really looking forward to picking this one up. The next book that I have not yet read, because I'm a lazy ass, is The Girl of Fire and Thorns by Rae Carson. Another book lots of people love. I know that Jillian over at Bookish and Nerdy really enjoys this one, or this entire series. I'm not sure if it's been completed yet. That is how much I do not pay attention to current books on BookTube, half of the time anyway, but I want to read it. I don't know anything about this at all. So I'm really looking forward to picking this one up. The next book series that I really need to start is The Raven Boys by Maggie Stiefvater. This I have heard some about, but I'm still not quite sure what it's about. I know it doesn't stick to the typical heterosexual trope of YA fantasy, so I really like that aspect of it. That in itself intrigues me so much, but apart from that, I don't know too much about it. I just know that a lot of people on BookTube whose opinions I completely respect and trust love this series. The next book series that I need to start is Cinder by Marissa Meyer. This is a book series that has now officially been completed. I think it's been coming out over the course of 5 years, so you can tell how incredibly behind I am on this series, but I still want to read it. I mean, it's like different takes on fairy tales, fairy tale retellings with like science fiction twists to it. How could I not want to read that? I don't know why I haven't. I don't know why I haven't. I have no excuse I want to read it. I really, really do. If anything, I want to read it so I can buy the rest of them, because I put myself on this book buying ban where I will not let myself buy any more books to a series until I've read the first one. They're just so pretty. The next book series that I seriously need to get the hell on is The Final Empire, the first book in the Mistborn trilogy by Brandon Sanderson. Now, I've never read Brandon Sanderson. I've never read any of his books. And I feel like that's sacrilege on BookTube. I feel like you can like be stoned for such an offense, and I don't want to be, you know, so I should read this soon. I've heard nothing but wonderful things about it from booktubers that I respect so much. And again, why would I not want to read a book that comes on such high recommendation? I don't know if it's YA or if it's adult. I really don't. But I know it's fantasy. I know it takes place in a very unique fantasy setting, and I know that I need to read it. I do. The next book is The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss. Now, I do know that this is an adult fantasy series and it's going to be a trilogy, and the first person I heard talk about it was Katrina over at Little Book Owl. And since she talked about it, I feel like it's been cropping up a lot more on BookTube, and I remember purchasing it the moment she did her review on it because it sounded so breathtaking and so just incredible. So there's no reason why I haven't started this, and I would really like to start this book series in 2015 because it looks amazing. The next book series that I really need to pick up is Finnegan of the Rock by Melina Marchetta. This is a book series that, again, I've heard so many people talk about on BookTube. Actually, I've heard a handful of people talk about it, and all those people who talk about it with such love and such admiration. And that's enough for me, you know? It's YA fantasy. I think that the majority of these books are YA fantasy. They totally are. I mean, that tells you how behind I am with my YA fantasy and how I need to get on it. So really want to read this one. I've never read Melina Marchetta, and I know that she dips into fantasy and is mainly a contemporary author, so I'm really interested to read her work. Alright guys, so that's all for this video. I hope that you enjoyed it. In the comments below, I would love for you guys to tell me if you've read these books, and if you have read these books, please give me one reason why you think I should pick them up. Like I said in my previous video where I discussed all the standalone books that I need to read, I just want to hear your guys' thoughts and get your opinions, because it's going to really help me to pick out my TBRs throughout the rest of the year. And I would love to look back at these videos in December or next January 2017 and see how many of these books and series I actually ended up reading and completing. I'd also really love to hear about some books that you've not yet started, whether they're popular or not as well known on BookTube, any of those things. You guys know. I want to know. Alright guys, so that's all for this video. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I will see you in my next one.